Hi there. How you guys doing today? So real quick, I wanted to record a video that some of my students have actually asked for. They're asking about this Pride of Ownership program, and in the last couple of days, I have posted video of a house that I am flipping in Fresno, right? Taking from kind of as is condition, turning it into a Pride of Ownership rental. It's the video that talks about something available with Clovis schools. If you want to go back and look at it, one view was PowerPoint kind of pictures, and the other one was actually a video walkthrough I took on my phone. So if you want to check it out, do that. I'm going to go through kind of three things. First and foremost, before you get started, and this is actually what I try to help my students understand and really get focused on when they jump into the course, is you have to understand the basic values in your chosen market, right? I'm not here to tell you, or at least I don't believe it's my place to say what's a good market, what's a bad market. I think you can invest in small markets, huge markets, first tier, second tier, tertiary, whatever you want to call them, right? Your market selection is really for you to decide, right? Do you want to be within driving distance? You want to be 30 minutes from home, 2.5 hours like we are, or do you want to be out of state? I certainly have my opinions, but they're my opinions. So I help you understand your market. That's what I try to do. And people are telling me it's working, right? They get their hands dirty, they jump in, they do all of that. So you need to do that. So in this example, I knew that area produces houses that go from kind of 235 up to 260, 265. And actually IC value, if it's fully remodeled, up to 275. So I know the values. The other thing you have to know going in is what's the rental amount. So this particular area, as I show in the phone video, it's a great little area, safe area, great parking, both garage, streets, manicured lawns, lots of owner occupants there. So rents are going to be on the low end 1,600. I think there's a pretty decent chance that we get over 1,700 for this particular rental house. And not only is it, that's a pretty significant rent for a 3-2, but it's because it has Clovis schools, and that just attracts people and low turnover, and people they're just going to stay. So you need to know those two things going in. And if you're a student of mine, that's really what we're getting after in the course. So step 2. What's the goal of my Pride of Ownership program, right? When I produce something, when I take it from its rough as is shape, and I'm trying to create something that I call Pride of Ownership rental, I'm trying to produce something that has no major repairs for 5 years. That's kind of my goal. So when in doubt, something gets replaced. Now, for example, if the roof has 10 more years on it, right, it's worn, but it's got 10 more years, so we're not going to replace it. But if it's got 2 or 3 more years on it, it's getting replaced. So there are lots of roofs that I have placed that were watertight still, but it was a risk, and I didn't want to take it. Now, again, if the roof's got 10 years on it and it's going to hold, I'm not going to replace it, right? It's something you can budget for and all of that. The other thing that I'm really thinking about is, what can we do to make this easy for tenant turnover? Yes, I'd like to think that the tenants that I put in there are going to stay there forever. However, that you can't think that way, right? You've got to plan for what can you do to make the tenant turnover process as cheap as possible. And a tenant turnover is the most costly thing for landlords. So I do my best during the creation to make sure the process is as easy as possible for someone. So okay. So now if you look at the phone video of me walking through, I start outside, right? I want to look outside, and I want to get a feel for the area, right? You see me do a panning shot of the entire area. I want to figure out, is this the nicest house on the block? Is it the worst? Where does it kind of stand? Because I don't like it to stand out either way. And, in this case, other than the grass being dead because, nobody's living there, it was kind of in the middle. One of the things that you will see is the roof is currently watertight, but you can start to see little bucklings if you really zoom in. And I thought there was a pretty good chance that this roof would produce leaks in the next 2 years. So we're going to do a layover, right? In Fresno, the I don't know, rules or regulations, whatever you want to call that, is you can do up to 2 layers. So there was only 1 layer on the roof, and we're going to be layering over a second roof, making sure it is watertight and will last, ideally 10 years or more without causing a leak. So that's the first thing we did on the outside. The other thing we did on the outside is it is that forever siding. So it will get a nice power washing and be cleaned right up. So that's what we did on the inside. Then as we walk inside, the first things I do is, almost right away, you're going to paint the entire place. So you can go back and look at other videos. We do our best to do the 2-tone paint, light beige walls and white for accents and things of that nature. Flooring. Flooring typically is laminate, living rooms, hallways, all of that. Kitchens and bath are tile, and then bedrooms are carpet. I have done laminate in bedrooms before, and it occasionally happens today. But in general, tenants like carpet on their feet when they get up in the morning. And thus, I've actually had some tenants decline rentals that don't have carpet in bedrooms. So we put carpets in bedrooms because most people like them. And then everywhere else, there's either laminate, which is easy to clean, typically lasts a turnover, and tile, which should last several turnovers for our landlords. And again, if you're looking at the bedrooms, they're like, 12 by 12 kind of average. So carpet, even if you replace carpet every time, it's going to be hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. So you have to balance that cost with tenant saying yes. Then you can go to the kitchen, right? What can you do in the kitchen? Anywhere from, some of the stuff I've bought is so bad, the cabinets are falling. So you have to replace those. But some of these houses we bought, and this one included, the cabinets are really solid, right? They're made of that, I don't know what it is, oak, wood, whatever. They look ugly, right? They're kind of outdated. This one's actually looks like it has some water stains on some of the doors, which is odd, but it happens, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the doors off, all the hardwares, hinges, handles, all of that. Those are going to be brand new. We are going to sand and paint the cabinets, because again, they are like really solid stuff. So they will certainly outlast future tenants. We are going to put on new hardware and whatnot. So the other thing in the kitchen is the countertops were actually nice, and the backsplashes were perfect in this house, but they're pretty outdated, right? They were a color combination that is probably a couple of decades past being interesting to folks. And these are always the hard decisions, right? Replacing that is expensive, right? It's probably going to be, call it $2,000, but it's the right answer. And we're going to be replacing it with the quartz or granite, depending on what is available at the time of purchase, because we want to put in something that is going to last for several tenants. If you get cheap and you put in Formica, you may save a couple of $100 today, but you're going to lose money in the future when it peels and buckles. So we never do that. We always put in the quartz or granite. And again, it's depending on what's on sale or clearance or whatever when we are at the point of buying it. And then we do put in subway tile backsplash. Again, anything we can do to prevent damage to walls from water and the like is a good thing. Then in that kitchen, you saw some pretty old appliances, right? The built-in kind of ovens. And then there was a cooktop function. We actually tested it, but they are not practical for today's buyers and today's tenants. So we're actually going to cancel the right side, which had those 2 ovens, make that a pantry because it's kind of the perfect space. I think it was like 2.5 feet by 8 feet or something. So we're going to cancel all of that, make it a nice pantry for someone. And we're going to cut right where the cooktop was. We're going to cut all of that out, and we're going to just put in a freestanding stove oven combination. Leverage the vent that is already there. And we're going to save the countertop to the left. So there'll be additional storage to the left. So far more functional, easy to manage, kitchen updated to today's standard, right? So that's kind of the kitchen layout. Then if you go back to the bathrooms, typically bathrooms are always going to get new flooring. These ones had those little stick-em tile, so it's gone, right? We want to put tile there. We're going to always put in new toilets. We are going to put in new vanities. And then in the bathrooms, as far as the tubs, and in this case, we have to add a shower. But usually if we can save the tub, we will. Tubs, you know, if it's disgusting or chipped or whatever, we'll yank them out. This one was fine. So we're going to clean up the tub, maybe glaze it, not sure. But we are going to be adding a shower. We are going to tile up the entire wall, always, again, thinking about the landlord and reducing potential risks and leaks and all of that. And, of course, be adding a rod for a shower curtain, of course. And then in the other bathroom, same deal, right? Tile, all of that. Then we go out to the yard, right? The backyard in this case. Look at the fencing. In this case, it's solid fencing all the way around, which is awesome. It's amazing how many times I have to replace at least one or two sides of a fence, and it happens, but it's amazing what happens to fences. And in this case, we also looked at parking. There is a 2-car garage parking. Today it's manual. Again, if we're going to get maximum rents, $16 to $17.50, we will add a garage door opener just for ease of use. The garage is fine. It's currently used for storage, as you kind of saw in the video. So that is good. And then lastly, we're checking out heating and cooling. In this particular case, they had a 3 or 4-year-old dual pack, which means it produces heating and cooling. It's vented. We've tested it while we were there. We turned it on, and we turned it on when we left. It's fine. So that's all good. So in the end, that's how we do it, right? So I had I have a contractor stop by, and we do the same thing every time. So he knows kind of the checklist. But again, it starts with doing your homework, right? Like I talk about in the course. Learn your market. What does the average market produce? What's a bad, what's an average, what's a good and great deal? All of you can do this. All of you can learn the skill that I'm talking about in this video. You've got to do the homework. You've got to do the work I talk about in the course, but it's there for you. Just do the work, right? The course is $199. It is there to help you. It will help you in any market. And once you have the skill, you can use it anywhere. And once you know your market, you know your rents, you can create the plans and see, should I buy perfect and pretty because it's a great return? Again, like I talk about in the course. Or are you getting such a discount that you can buy it and repair it and it's a better return, right? This will make sense if you take the course, because sometimes pretty produces a better return because you're borrowing essentially the make ready. But sometimes if you get a big enough discount, you can buy it cheaply and do the cash, and it's still a better deal. But again, hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully the whole pride of ownership plan, hopefully this video tied with the walkthrough makes sense. If it doesn't, leave questions below, and I'm always here to help. All right, thanks. Take care.